Uh, we are going through the male genital system. So today I will start with the vas deferens. I have completed the scrotum, testis, then epididymis, then spermatic cord. Then remaining part is vas deferens. Then there will be accessory sex glands. Then there will be part of the prepuce and penis. So today I will complete the male genital system, and then I will start the female genital organs. So let's wait for 5 minutes more. Then has anyone faced any problem during examination? I think all questions were okay. Is there any problem during understanding the questions? Oh, 42. I don't know what about the remaining. Wait for 2 minutes more. Okay, then I am starting. Others will join later on. So I am sharing entire screen. Are you able to see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In last class, yes, in last class I told you about the spermatic cord, and as I already told you that spermatic cord, these are the testicles, and these testicles were covered with the scrotum, and as you know, scrotum usually consists of 4 layers. Then from the testis, there is on the testis there will be epididymis, and epididymis consists of 3 parts as a head, body, and the tail. And on the upper part of the testicle, from the scrotum up to the abdominal cavity through the inguinal canal, there are 2 cords. These cords are called as spermatic cords, and these cords are usually consist of 7 structures. And these structures, I already told you, that consist of nerve, artery, vein, then cremaster muscle. Then there will be part of the vas deferens, and so on. But the main important thing is the structure of the vein, the intervening structure of the vein around the artery, that is called as pampiniform plexus, that is present in the spermatic cord. And this pampiniform plexus formed by the veins, it also plays important role in the thermoregulation of the testicles. So after that, you can see here, these are the vas deferens. This is the vas deferens, and it is also called as ductus deferens. Ductus deferens, and you can see here, this is urinary bladder. So both vas deferens, they passes through the dorsal surface of the urinary bladder. Then these are the three accessory sex glands. These are the 1, 2, and 3. I will explain you one by one. Then this is part of the penis, and here you will find the prepuce. So one by one I will continue. So first is the vas deferens, and the vas deferens is also called as ductus deferens. This is important. Vas deferens is also called as ductus deferens. Okay, and this is also one important component of the spermatic cord, and it extends from the tail of the epididymis. I already told you that testicle, usually over the testicle there is epididymis that consists of head, body, and the tail. From the tail of the epididymis, there is emergence of the vas deferens, and this vas deferens will go and will open in the. This is a common tube that will also contribute the secretion of the accessory sex glands. I will tell you about the opening and all. But the emergence, it emerges out from the tail of the epididymis to the pelvic part of the urethra. Pelvic part of the urethra, and whole part of the urethra, I will explain you later on. First, this is the ductus deferens, and a small tube, and from its origin to the dorsal surface to the urinary bladder. I already told you. You can see here. This is the passage of the ductus deferens or vas deferens, and here you can see it passes through the dorsal surface of the urinary bladder. So up to the urinary bladder, it has uniform diameter, means the diameter from the tail of the epididymis up to the dorsal surface of the urinary bladder, the diameter is uniform. Then it will form a enlargement bulbous part that is called as ampulla at the dorsal part of the bladder, that is 10 to 12 centimeter long and 1 to 2 centimeter wide. You can see here the diameter here is uniform up to this part, but here it will enlarge and it will form bulbous part. It is called as ampulla of the vas deferens or ductus deferens. Okay, so this is called as ampulla. Here is the ampulla. Ampulla is usually at the opening of the, it is present in many of the tube-like structure, and it is found at the opening part that is more enlarged as compared to the rest part of the tubular organs. Then what are the species differences? So in case of the stallion, the diameter is about 6 mm and the ampullated part is 15 to 20 centimeter long and 2 centimeter wide. And the vas deferens and the duct of seminal vesicle, this is very, very important, open in a common ejaculatory orifice on the side of the colliculus seminalis. So what is the colliculus seminalis? This is very, very important. I will explain you. You can see here, this is the vas deferens. Okay, this is the vas deferens in case of the stallion. So it is going, and here somehow it is forming the ampulla. Okay, and from the ampullated part, and this is the urinary bladder. Okay, so this vas deferens and the opening of the urinary bladder, it will continue with the urethra. Okay, so this part of the urethra and the urethra will remain inside the two crura of the pelvis. So what is the colliculus seminalis? Actually, when you will cut out the urethra from the upper part, so in the middle of the urethra, there is one prominence. In the middle of the urethra, there is one prominence, and this prominence is called as colliculus seminalis. In the urethra, here, if you will cut out here, so in the middle of the urethra, there is prominence, and this prominence is called as colliculus seminalis. So what, in case of the horse, so there will be opening here. Okay, there will be opening here. So in case of the horse, this opening is common for the duct of the seminal vesicle and vas deferens. Suppose these are the two vas deferens. So they are coming. Along with it, there is secretion of the, this is common opening for the seminal vesicle. But in case of the ox, the opening of the vas deferens and the seminal vesicles will be two. Means in case of the horse only one, but in case of the ox or other animals, there will be two openings. Okay, one is for the seminal vesicle and one is for the vas deferens on the either side of the colliculus seminalis. Then in case of the boar, there is no distinct ampulla. Means you cannot differentiate that. Means it looks like similar diameter up to the opening. Okay, and in case of the dog, the ampulla are narrow as compared to the other species. Then in case of the fowl, it arises from the rudimentary epididymis. I already told you that in case of the fowl, the epididymis is rudimentary, and the testicle are also situated in the abdominal cavity. So there is absence of the scrotum. So in case of the fowl, the vas deferens, they usually arises from the rudimentary epididymis and opens into the urodium of cloaca. Okay, so many of the male genital or urinary systems, they used to open in the cloaca, and this cloaca usually consists of three parts as a proctodium, urodium and coprodium. Proctodium, urodium and coprodium. So this vas deferens opens into the urodium of the cloaca. And the vas deferens in case of the birds or in case of the fowl, it is extremely tortuous, means it is flexus. Okay, and they are usually open, they are usually present in the abdominal to pelvic cavity. Then accessory sex glands. So what are the accessory sex glands? These are the glands which secrete some fluid that is important for the that secretes some nutritional fluids as well as some fluids that provides the longevity to the spermatozoa, and they can increase the lifespan of the spermatozoa also. So there are three accessory sex glands. So these accessory sex glands are the seminal vesicles, number one. Then second is the prostate, and number three is the bulbourethral gland. These bulbourethral glands, they are also called as Cowper's gland. So in the examination, it can come as that bulbourethral glands are also called as Cowper's gland. Okay. So the accessory sex glands are located along the pelvic part of the urethra. So the urethra you can divide into two parts, that is pelvic part and the penile part. Means suppose this is the urinary bladder, and this part is the urethra. Okay, so you can see this, you can say this part of the urethra is the pelvic urethra, and the part of the urethra that is present in between the two crura of the penis is called as penile part of the urethra. Okay, so there are two parts of the urethra. One is the pelvic part and one is the penile part of the urethra. So you can see here, there are three accessory sex glands, I already told you. So you can see these are the seminal vesicles on the either side of the urethra. This is the urethra. Okay, this is the urethra. So on the either side of the urethra, you can see there are two seminal vesicles, and this is a prostate gland.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
My voice is breaking. I'm not able to hear you. Just please. Okay. Your voice is not clear to me. I'm not able to hear you properly. Please tell me.
Your voice is clear.
It's clear, sir.
Clear, na?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So urethra. So this urethra, there are three glands One is the seminal vesicles. These are the accessory sex glands. Number 2 is the prostate, and number 3 are the bulbourethral gland. And these bulbourethral glands, they are also called as Cowper's gland. Okay. So firstly, the seminal vesicles. These seminal vesicles are two compact glandular organ. Okay, they are two compact glandular organ, and they are present on the either side of the urethra, and they have lobulated surface, and they are situated on the dorsal surface of the urinary bladder, where the vas deferens comes and joins the urethra. Okay, and dorsally they are related to the rectum, and it is about 10 to 12 centimeter long, 20 to 12 centimeter long, 5 centimeter wide, and 3 centimeter thick. And the excretory ducts open on the either side of the colliculus seminalis, lateral to the opening of the vas deferens. As I already told you, in case of the ox, this is the colliculus seminalis in the colliculus seminalis, which is present in the middle of the urethra, pelvic part of the urethra, when you will cut it from the dorsal aspect. So there are two openings. These two openings is for the vas deferens, and on the lateral aspect of these two openings, there are opening of the seminal vesicles. So they are paired compact glandular organ, and they have lobulated surfaces, and their opening is on the lateral aspect of the opening of vas deferens. So what is the function? This is very, very important. So the function of these seminal vesicle is to produce and store fluid that is called as semen. And semen usually provides lubrication to the spermatozoa, and it also gives nourishment and protection to the spermatozoa, and it also prolongs the lifespan of the spermatozoa. So this is the function of the fluid of seminal vesicle, that is semen. And the thick secretion from the seminal vesicle contains some proteins, enzymes, fructose, mucus, vitamin C, flavins, and phosphorylcholine, and some prostaglandins. And the high fructose concentration provide nutrition energy for the spermatozoa. So why these are accessory sex glands means they have some accessory works to the male genital system, like they are producing semen, they are giving some protection, they are increasing lifespan, they are giving some nourishment and protection to the spermatozoa. So first one was seminal vesicle. You can see here, this is very, very important. So this is the urinary bladder, and these are the ampullated part of the vas deferens. So it will go and open in the pelvic part of the urethra. This is the pelvic part of the urethra, and penile part of the urethra will remain inside to the two crura of the penis. So on the either side of the you will find these are the two seminal vesicles. You can see here, I already told you that what is colliculus seminalis. So you can see the colliculus seminalis, this hole is the urethra. When you will cut the urethra from the dorsal aspect, in the middle of it, you will find one prominence, and this prominence is usually called as colliculus seminalis. So on the either side of colliculus seminalis, there is two opening for the vas deferens, and lateral to it, there are two openings, and these openings are for the seminal vesicles. But in case of the horse, I already told you, in case of the horse, there is common opening on the either side of the colliculus seminalis, which is for the seminal vesicles as well as the vas deferens. So these are the seminal vesicles on the either side, and these two are the vas deferens coming from the tail of the epididymis. Then what are the species differences? In case of the stallion, in case of the horse means, in case of the stallion, there are two elongated pyriform sacs. Okay, there are two elongated pyriform sac, and the excretory duct opens in common with the vas deferens. I already told you, and in a pouch of mucous membrane on the either side of the colliculus seminalis. This thing I already told you. And in case of the boar, if you will look at the boar, so in case of the boar, it is well developed and pyramidal in shape. And in case of the dog and fowl, the seminal vesicles are absent. Okay, this is very, very important. In case of the dog and fowl, the seminal vesicles are absent. Then second accessory sex gland is the prostate. And this prostate gland is a musculoglandular organ, and which is pale yellow in color, and it consists of two parts, the body and the pars disseminata. This is very, very important. It consists of two parts as a body and the pars disseminata. And the body is situated across the dorsal surface of neck of the bladder. Okay, as you know, urinary bladder consists of the part, neck, body, and the vertex. Okay, so this prostate gland is situated across the dorsal surface of neck of the bladder, and also it is very near to the origin of the urethra. Okay, it is located external to the urethra. The pars disseminata, which is second part of the prostate, it surrounds the pelvic part of the urethra. Means it will be present like this. It surrounds the pelvic part of the urethra. Okay, and the secretion is taken by the prostate ducts which open into the urethra behind the colliculus seminalis. And the prostate usually secretes fluids that nourish and protect the spermatozoa. You can see, I already told you that this is the prostate gland. Okay, so the prostate gland, there is a one body, and on the either side you will find the pars disseminata. So body, it is closely situated near to the neck, because neck of the bladder will be here. Okay, so this is the body, and there will be pars disseminata. Now you can see here, I already told you that here, if I will draw one diagram here, so this is the colliculus seminalis, and on the either side of colliculus seminalis, in case of the ox, there are two openings. One is for the seminal vesicles, and one is for the vas deferens. Where it is going to be end here. So at the end of the seminal vesicle, there is opening for the duct of the prostate duct. Okay, so this is for the prostate duct. So whatever the secretion is produced by the prostate gland, it will be deposited into the prostatic ducts, and these are present behind the colliculus seminalis. Okay, so this is the colliculus seminalis, so behind the colliculus seminalis. Then in case of the dog, very, very important, you can see here, this is the prostate gland in case of the dog, and the disseminated part is vestigial and compact part is large and globular, you can see here. Okay, and very, very important is, in case of the dog, there is some conditions associated with the prostate gland.
Voice is breaking.
Voice is breaking?
No, sir.
Actually, I think it's clear. From my network, it is okay.
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yeah. So in case of the dog, you can see here, in case of the dog, the prostate gland is large and globular as compared to the other animals. So when there is some disease conditions related to the prostate gland in case of the dog, okay, so it may enlarge in case of the dogs, which can directly cause the blockage of the rectum, you can see, because it will be enlarged and it will pressure on the rectum, so it will block the rectum. So in case of the dogs, the disease condition related to the prostate gland may block the rectum. And in case of the, you can see here, there can be hyperplasia condition, okay, or this condition is called as prostate gland enlargement by the epithelial or glandular hyperplasia. The last gland is a bulbourethral gland, and it is also called as Cowper's gland. It is also called as Cowper's gland, and this bulbourethral gland, they are the small, firm glands located on the either side of the urethra. Okay. They are located on the either side of the urethra. Then the function of this bulbourethral gland is to clear the secretion of the urine residue. Means the clear secretions of the bulbourethral gland or the Cowper's gland that often drift from the penis during sexual excitement prior to the service means the deposition of the spermatozoa into the female genital tract is largely produced by these glands, and the secretion of these glands serves to flush and clean the urethra of any urine residue. Means whatever the part, because this urethra is common passage for the urinary system as well as the male genital system. So whatever part of the urine residue is present in the urethra, it is mainly cleared by the secretion which is produced by sexual excitement prior to the cervix. Okay, so it will clean the urethra that may harmful for the spermatozoa. Means any residue of the urine may harm to the spermatozoa. They can decrease the lifespan. They can be harmful simply. Then you can see here, this is the urinary bladder, and here this is the seminal vesicle, here is the prostate gland, and here you can see these are the Cowper's gland. So the Cowper gland, there is one opening over the urethra by which they usually secrete the clear secretion in the urethra that will clear the urine residue from the urethra. Okay, and that's all for this gland. You can see here, I already told you that these are the seminal vesicles, this is the prostate gland, and this is the Cowper's gland, and these Cowper's gland, they are present on the either side of the urethra. This is the urethra, that is pelvic part of the urethra. Then what is the species differences? In case of the stallion, it is the size of the bulbourethral gland is walnut. Walnut is, that is, everybody knows, I think, walnut in the stallion, and in case of the bull, it is cherry shape. In case of the boar, it is cylindrical and extend along the whole of the pelvic portion of the urethra. You can see here, in case of the boar, it extends, it is very, very unique, along the whole of the pelvic portion of the urethra. And the important thing is, very, very important, the bulbourethral glands are absent in dog and fowl. Okay, means in case of the dog, only the prostate gland is present. This is very, very important. In case of the dog, there is presence of only prostate gland, and in case of the fowl and birds, there is complete absence of the accessory sex glands. This is very, very important. Then next is, you can see here, in case of the stallion, it is walnut shape. Then in case of the bull, they are cherry shape. In case of the boar, they are extended throughout the length of the urethra. And in case of the dog, only the prostate gland is present. That is large and bulbous. Then urethra. So the urethra, it usually Yeah. The urethra is long musculous tube extending from the neck of the bladder. You can see here, extending from the neck of the bladder up to the tip of the penis. Okay, tip of the glans penis. Actually, penis is up to here, and this part is consist of the glans penis. Okay, so it is a long musculous tube extending from the neck of the bladder to the tip of the glans penis, and the part of the urethra, it usually consists of two parts. One is the pelvic part and one is the extra pelvic part or the penile part. You can see here, this part of the urethra is called as extra pelvic part. Oh, sorry, pelvic part, and the part of the urethra that is present inside the penis, two crura of the penis, is called as extra penile part or the that is extra pelvic part or the penile part of the urethra. The pelvic part is smaller and it is only 12 centimeter long and uniform in diameter. It is uniform in diameter and related to the rectum and prostate above. You can see here this part of the urethra, because rectum will be here. So dorsally, this pelvic part of the urethra is related dorsally to the rectum and the prostate gland at dorsally. Okay, and below the related to the rectum and prostate above, and along with the obturator muscles below, and the Cowper's gland laterally. On the either side of the urethra, there will be Cowper's gland. And one more part is called as extra pelvic part or the penile part. And this part passes in between the two crura of the penis. Because this part will remain, this is the urethra, and it is present in between the two crura of the penis. These are the two crura of the penis, and this is the urethra. You can see here, this is clear cut. Here, this part of the urethra is called as pelvic part of the urethra, and the remaining part of the urethra that is present in the two crura of the penis is called as penile part of the urethra. Penile part of the urethra. Then the urethra, very, very important. There are two openings in the urethra. One opening is at the urinary bladder and one opening is at the tip of the glans penis. Okay. So the opening of the urethra at the bladder, this is the urinary bladder. So here one will opening, and this opening is called as internal urethral orifices. And the opening of the urethra at the tip of the glans penis, so this opening is called as external urethral orifices. And I already told you that at this part, in the middle of the urethra, if you will cut from the dorsal aspect, there is one prominence, and this rounded prominence is called as colliculus seminalis, and it is present 5 centimeter behind to the internal urethral. This is the internal urethral orifices. So 5 centimeter behind this internal urethral orifice in case of the ox. Then penis. Okay. So penis is the male copulatory organ and is composed of white fibrous tissue. It consists of white fibrous tissue and little erectile tissue. And this penis, it extends from the ischial arch forward between the thighs to the umbilical region of the abdominal wall. It is cylindrical in form and mere in adult bull about 90 centimeter. It may be divided into 3 parts, that is called as root, body, and the glans penis. So here will be the root. This is the root of the penis, and this hole is called as body of the penis, and this part is called as glans penis. So penis is usually consists of 3 parts, that is body, root, body, and the prepuce. So the root of the penis is attached to the lateral part of the ischial arch. On the either side, it is attached to the ischial arch by two crura, which converge and unite below the R to form root of the penis. So this small portion of the penis is called as root of the penis. And it is attached to the lateral part of the ischial arch. It is present in the pelvic bone by the two crura. Then the body of the penis, it begins at the junction of the crura and forms the bulk of the organ. You can see bulk of the organ means the major part of the penis is formed by the body of the penis. And it is flattened from above downward, and it presents four surfaces. The dorsal surface, the ventral surface, and two lateral surface. How? You can see here, this is the penis. So this surface is the dorsal surface, this surface is the ventral surface, and on the either side, there will be two lateral surfaces. So it consists of four surfaces, and just behind the scrotum, it forms a S-shaped curve. This is very, very important. This S-shaped curve is called as sigmoid flexor, and in which 30 centimeter of the penis is folded, which is released during the erection. So what is the sigmoid flexor? This part of the this part is called as sigmoid flexor. S-shaped curve is called as sigmoid flexor, just behind the scrotum, in which 30 centimeter of the penis is folded, and that is released during the erection. You can see here, this is the sigmoid flexor. Okay, this is the sigmoid flexor. This is very, very important. Then last part is the glans penis, and the glans penis is the free end of the organ. You can see here, this is the glans penis, and is about 8 centimeter long. It is extreme, the extremity of the glans penis is pointed and twisted. Okay, so very, very important thing is the sigmoid flexor. You can see in case of the bull, the sigmoid flexor is present. This is very, very important. In case of the bull, the sigmoid flexor is present. In case of the boar, the sigmoid flexor is present. In case of the dog and in case of the stallion, the sigmoid flexor is absent. Very, very important. So due to the presence of the sigmoid flexor in the boar and in case of the bull, the chances of the urethral calculi means during the filtration of the urine, in the filtration, water filtration in the kidney, there is formation of some particles, that is crystalline particle, that will come out from the kidney, and it will come in the urethra and pass through the urethra. But in case of the ox and in case of the boar, due to the sigmoid flexor, they may be obstruct the urethra due to presence of this sigmoid flexor. Okay, so the condition of the urethral calculi is more in case of the ox and in case of the bull as compared to the dog and stallion due to absence of the sigmoid flexor. Then prepuce. So this prepuce is a tubular sheath that covers the cranial free portion of the penis in non-erectile state. You can see here this part is the prepuce, and it consists of an external and internal layer. The external layer, it extends from the scrotum to the umbilicus. There is one external layer. And the internal layer, it is also called as penile layer and extend to the tip of the glans penis. So this part is called as internal, and here is this part is called as the external layer. Then you can see here, this is the glans penis. Here is the glans penis. You can see here, this is the glans penis. And this part is the prepuce. Okay, and this prepuce also forms a preputeal cavity on the either side of the glans penis, and this is the outer layer of the uh, uh, prepuce, and this is the inner layer of the prepuce. Now there are some differences in the species differences in the penis also. You will find some important structures in the different species. Number one, in case of the stallion, there is one prominence present over the tip of over the glans penis. This is called as corona glandis. And at the opening of the external urethral orifices, there is one depression or fossa that is called as fossa glandis. So fossa glandis and corona glandis, they are present in the penis of the stallion. In case of the boar, the glans penis is spirally twisted anti-clockwise. You can see here, anti-clockwise, spirally twisted, and it is present in only in case of the boar. And in case of the boar, there is one more diverticulum is present. This diverticulum is called as preputial cavity. Preputial diverticulum. So these two things are only present in case of the boar. One is the glans penis is spirally twisted anti-clockwise and preputial diverticulum. Then in case of the dog, very important structure is present that is called as bulbus glandis. This is the bulbus glandis. And in case of the male and female genital, means in case of the copulation, in case of the male and female canines, in case of the dog and bitch, this bulbus glandis is very important. It plays very important role. That condition is called as coital tie. This is very important, coital tie. So what is the coital tie? Okay, where during the it will enlarge, and due to the enlargement of the bulbus glandis, due to filling of the more blood during the sexual excitement, so there will be locking in between the male and female genital of the dog. Means in case of the dog and bitch, this condition is called as coital tie. When the dog will relax, then the blood circulation will be normal. So the bulbus glandis will come in its position. So then the male and female will be separated. So you can see here in case of the boar, this is the anti-clockwise. And one more important is in case of the sheep and goat, there is one more structure that is called a urethral process. This urethral process is only present in case of the sheep and goat. This is the urethral process. In case of the stallion, I already told you that there is one corona glandis and there is one depression that is called as fossa glandis. In case of the bull, there is no such structure. Only the glans penis is in the form of the tip. And in case of the dog, I already told you that there is one structure that is called as bulbus glandis. So this is about the male genital system. If you want to ask anything, you can ask. The topic is now open for discussion. If you want to ask anything, you can ask. Ampulla is only opening. Whatever the secretion is from the vas deferens. Vas deferens means it carries the matured spermatozoa to the urethra. So it is opening of the vas deferens, and it is enlarged because it is going to be secrete. Okay, there is no specific function, only ampulla is opening. Anything else?
Sir, in case of dog and fowl, the function of bulbourethral gland and seminal vesicle is carried out by prostate gland.
In case of the dog?
Dog and fowl.
No. In case of the fowl, there are completely absence of the accessory sex glands. In case of the fowl, all three accessory sex glands are absent. Okay. In case of the dog, there is absence of the seminal vesicle and the Cowper's gland. There is presence of the only prostate gland. Okay. So in case of the dog, no. If there is absence of the gland, that is seminal vesicle and the bulbourethral gland, the prostate will not play the role of these glands. Whatever the secretion from the prostate, it will go in the urethra. That's all. Remaining secretion will not be present.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? No question? Okay, then thank you so much. And have
Thank
a
you,
good
sir.
day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.